Kyle from Nice Guys Garage with a maintenance minute. Let's change the oil. As with most projects, this one begins by opening the hood. Grab on your oil cap. It's going to tell you something about what kind of oil you need. And it's important to smell these. See if I can get this camera to focus here. Nope. There we go. Dexos SAE 5W30. So that's what we'll use. Smell that and see if you smell any fuel. I don't smell any fuel in this one. That's a good thing. Went to the discount store, bought some Mobil 1 12-quart discount box oil, sponsored by NASCAR, means you go fast, and it's Dexos approved. This is the right stuff. And we got the Mobil 1 filter to match, 20,000 miles of protection. I use these filters for 2 5,000-mile oil changes. What do you do? Then pull your dipstick. You're going to check to see where the level is, but you got to wipe it off and then cram her back in there before you check the level. Harder to do this in the dark than you think. There we go. Let's see if we can get this camera to focus here. And we're about a half a quart low. That's not bad for 5,000 miles. I smell this oil too. No fuel smell there. That's a good thing. Then grab your funnel and cram her in there. Make sure she's clean. Get your oil drip pan. Get your creeper. Cram her under there. I like to wear gloves. Any color will do. There we go. Nice and fitted. Now my handles stay clean. Crawl under the truck. Use your creeper. Save the back. There's the oil filter on the left and the drain plug on the right. Feeling for what size I need. I'm never correct on these things, but I actually got this one on the first try. Now the trick here is when you get your hand loose, you just keep backing her out while holding pressure in so the oil doesn't scoot out till all the threads are out, and then there you go. And while that's draining, because it takes a minute or 3, look for flakes in there or any sign of water in there or such, and then scoot over to your oil filter. It should only be hand tight, which means hand loose. This one, that's about perfect, as it should be. I did this oil change last time. Notice the Mobil 1 consistency. Crack her loose and let her drain. It'll help keep you from making a huge mess. And after most of it's drained out, scoot on in and careful now. Dang it. Anyways, dump the oil out and see if you see any contaminants coming from the filter. That would be important to know. And then you want to clean up all the oil in there too. Grab your new filter, same brand. This Mobil 1 stuff, they don't sponsor us, but maybe they should. We enjoy using their products. You're going to want to oil that seal. Helps keep it from leaking. Use the new oil though. Don't go use your old oil and get dirt and crud in between the seal and the mating surface. That's no good. And then pre-fill your oil filter. Why not? Use that clean oil and fill her on up. Help prevent a dry start. Careful now. Careful. There we go. Get her all on there now and tighten her down. Remember, hand tight. We're only going to go hand tight. Now the book calls for 22 foot-pounds. I don't use a torque wrench on these. I just grab the paper towel so my hands don't slip and go until it feels like it's just a hair snug past barely tight. Does that make sense? I don't know. Do a few of them, you'll get the feel for it. And go back to where your drain plug came out. Clean it off, make sure there's no contaminants. And then cram the drain plug back in there. This one actually calls for 18 foot-pounds. I don't know. I just kind of Go by feel on this one too. Hand tight, grab the wrench, and just a little bit of yeah. Oh, whoppa. There we go. That feels like 18 foot-pounds. While I'm onto the car, I like to look for leaks. See, something here is causing oil to build up on the bell housing. But it's not coming from the bell housing because, well, engine oil typically wouldn't come from the bell housing unless it's really leaking out of that rear main. No, it's leaking out of the oil cooler lines, those little square blocks there. I don't know if I can get this to focus. And these are your oil cooler lines for the engine oil. This is the power steering line. It's leaking too. Great. I'll have to replace that at some point. But these oil cooler lines, they scoot up over the front axle on these four-wheel drives and in between the engine mount. I'll see if I can get an angle on this. They are just really, really crammed in there. That's not going to be any fun. And while I'm under here, I might as well look at the other lines. And I looked at these transmission fluid lines, and wouldn't you know it, they're also leaking. Seems like Chevys just leak all the fluid. Problem for a different day. Grab your manual and see what kind of capacity you need to fill this engine oil up to. So go to capacities and specifications. These books they're fairly organized and actually tell you a thing or two that's useful. Nope, don't need that. Right over here. There we go. 6 quarts. That's what we need, 6 quarts. Remember that 12-quart value bag we bought? Well, I put her into jugs so I can measure. That Rain-X is 4 quarts, and this old milk jug has quart marks on it, so that's 3 quarts. I know I only need 6, but that's okay. Start filling her up. Make sure your funnel's not going to fall out now. And from our 3-quart jug, we just barely use less than 2 quarts. Go ahead and get in there, start her up, and we're watching oil pressure here. You want your oil pressure to build up. That way you know it's circulated through the entire system. Just under 40. That's about perfect. We're going to shut her on down and give her a few minutes for the oil to settle before you go and check with the dipstick. And then take your dipstick, make sure it's cleaned off. After that few minutes, you're going to cram her down in there. And then scoot it on out. And take a look, see where you're at. This one, it's just about full. You don't want to fill them up too much. Right about halfway, I like to go almost 3/4 is just perfect. I'm going to cram this back in there and then grab my oil and maybe give her just a little splash more. I think that'll work. Take your oil funnel out, make sure not to spill any on your engine. And grab your cap. Put her back in there. We're almost done with this job. That's exciting. Want to make sure we double check for leaks though. So scoot under to where the oil filter is. You can see kind of all under here. Start it up and let it run while you're doing your cleanup. That way you'll know if she leaks. I do recommend recycling your oil. And after you fill that up, double check the filter that you took off. See if you got any contaminants down in there. Get a real good look in there now. Don't skimp on this. You can even cut them open. Give her one more check. No leaks. That's a good sign. Don't forget to reset your oil life monitor. I don't ever follow these things anyways because we just use mileage or time, but you know, it's the right thing to do. This one's easy. You just hold a button and then it resets. It was at 31% after 5,000 miles. Now it's at 100. Go for the road test. Watch oil pressure. That's what we're really concerned about here. I want to make sure we're not seeing any crazy fluctuations. Give her a few of the beans. And just keep an eye on that oil pressure gauge. This one looks pretty good. Do one more check for leaks. Not seeing any over on this side where the filter is. It's raining today. Kind of snowing even. And then we're going to scoot under here to where the drain plug side is and double check for leaks there. Nope, don't see anything. What kind of mess did we make in the garage? Not too bad. Wipe that up. And then we use a special product called any brake cleaner we can find. Give her a few sprays. Then wipe that up too. Garage floor is good as old. If you had a car in the garage and you need to put it back in there, go ahead and do that. Firebird lives in the garage. It's the right place for it. And rev her up a few times to wake the neighbors. That'll make HOA happy. Then take your used oil and head on out to the oil recycler. Any of the parts stores, really. Don't leave your bottles in there like used notes. Most important step here, go into your refrigerator and grab you a soda. You earned it. Saved yourself some money and did the right thing today. Subscribe, comment below. Thanks for watching, guys and gals.